No.
And we're back. I enjoy being none of yours DMs.
That's good. That's my goal.
Em, I'm kidding. Oh god, the look on Em's face was a fucking dagger in my throat. Jesus. Anyway, so now that we're back, I hate that.
Now that we're men.
And that's the thumbnail for our next episode. Anyway, so as we left off, after an assassination attempt against the smallest member of the Shepherds, perhaps a bit more on guard than they were last night, than they were beforehand, the members of the Shepherds have drifted off to sleep, and as the night normally does, night gives way to the morning, and the first to wake up is Opportunity Knox, and perhaps she does her cat stretches in the morning. Perhaps she finds a leftover cup on the table and just nyeh. But Knox, as you
only if it's Fenkin's.
Knock, as you wake up, immediately you feel an emptiness in your pocket.
Wait, sorry, did you just call me Knock? Am I a single Knock?
I said Knox. It might have.
But one Knock.
This microphone has trouble picking up S's when they're too quiet, so I meant Knox.
You really gotta hit that S hard, bro.
Knox.
Okay, yeah, hell yeah. Okay, I feel an emptiness in my pocket and in my heart, I assume.
And as you reach into your pocket, where your necklace once was, it is no longer there. And maybe as you begin to like pat around, you hear your ears twitch as you hear like
No.
you know how like when a dog chews on something hard, there's kind of like a clanking noise. Well, you hear that, and you look over. In a sleeping Gesh's lap, I imagine Gesh kind of sleeps, kind of sitting up, like monks do sometimes. Would I be correct in assuming that?
I love that. Just like...
Would I be correct in assuming that there, Ethan?
Yes.
Excellent, cool. So, you see, in a sleeping Gesh's lap, Princess. And you see in Princess's little raccoon hands, gnawing away at your necklace. Just kind of like...
No!
From what you can tell, it hasn't been like damaged or anything yet, but it's very clearly covered in raccoon slobber.
Disgusting. Knox is just... And then she immediately... She cares not for the fact that Gesh is asleep. Doesn't matter. She needs that necklace back. So she just gets up and she's like, you rotten little flea bag. And she like makes a snatch for trying to grab the necklace out of its paws.
So
just like, eh.
So as you're reaching over, by this point, Princess just has like the pendant in his mouth. And when you finally grab the chain and pull it out, there's kind of like a little sound. And you hold it up and the pendant is like completely covered in like raccoon drool. It's kind of like glinting in the light through the tent. And like there's a moment where where Princess is like still chewing, but then he seems to realize there's nothing there and he's just kind of and then there's like a little raccoon shrug, and he snuggles back into Gesh's lap.
She flattens her ears and at him, and then like retreats a good like 5 feet to go wipe the disgustingness off of the necklace, like on her shirt, just trying to clean it off, and she's grumbling to herself.
Fortunately, the slobber is easy to get off, and it doesn't seem like the pendant's been like overly scratched or bitten into or anything. It doesn't even seem to be cracked. So I guess like he was just kind of teething on it or whatever.
Nasty. Like that nasty little baby he is.
I can see Sophie getting offended on her screen.
On Oz's behalf.
Don't talk about my child like that.
My child, Jesus. So after you get it cleaned off, is there anything else you're doing, or?
Apologizing.
Never. Never. No. Once she's done cleaning it off, she'll put it back in her pouch where it was, probably a little bit more like, maybe in a different pocket that's like closer to her. She's guarding it more closely now. Is it like really early in the morning at this point, or is it like time for people to start getting up, or is it like early?
Not quite time for people to start getting up in the morning. It is. I'm gonna say it's around like 4:30 thereabouts. So like the sun is just kind of starting to rise a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, she was briefly considering, just because she's annoyed now, just like waking everyone up so that everyone has to suffer, but she won't. She will probably go over, just like kind of crane her head up to look over at wherever Oz is, just to make sure that she's like not dead. I assume that she's okay.
Perception check.
Don't love that, but okay.
She's also like tucked into Finn's arms. He's sort of like holding around her.
Aww.
Suffocating her.
14.
Okay, so as you look over at Ozla, you can see that she looks a lot more comfortable than she did when she had poison coursing through her veins. You see the steady rise and fall of her belly as she snores in Fenkin's arms.
Deep snoring.
A little frown on Fenkin's face because it's annoying, but also he doesn't complain because he's relieved that she's normal again.
Is Fenkin awake, or is he sleeping too?
He is, I'm guessing with Connor, he's asleep, but like maybe not as deep a sleep as he would if there was quiet around him. But he's sort of used to her snoring by now.
Probably. Okay, yeah, she'll just look, and then after looking for a second and like seeing that she looks okay and Fenkin's got her, she still is not sure what's going on with those two. She looks at that for a second and she's like, okay. But then yeah, she'll leave them be. She'll just kind of lay back and probably just wait for people to get up on their own.
Okay. So as you kind of sit down and wait, what pocket did you put the necklace in?
Sorry, I spilled a slight amount of ham and cheese Hot Pocket. 1 second. Let me take care of that.
Way to be professional, everybody.
I'm sorry, Mr. BM. Probably like I assume before it was probably just like in kind of like a back pocket. But now it's like in like a front, like it's like right up against her leg because she doesn't want to lose it.
Okay, so you know that sensation of those little hand warmer things that you can get at camping stores, where like you shake it up and it starts to warm up, and like you put it in your pocket or something.
Yep.
Where you put the necklace, that's the exact sensation that you start to feel.
So it's very warm.
Yes.
Interesting. She'll feel that, and then she's like, and she'll just like look down at her leg where this object is, and then she'll take it out very carefully and look at it. Does it look any different, or
what's that?
Does it look any different, or is it just warm?
It's just warm. As you take it out, you see that nothing on the pendant has changed, nothing on the chain has changed at all. It just seems to be radiating like not an intense heat, but like a pleasant warmth.
Can I use a spell slot to cast Identify on it?
That depends. Let me check what Identify does.
Well, yeah, look at the details. It really discerns the nature of a magical object.
Okay.
I should look at how to actually cast.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and, so you're casting Identify?
Yes.
Okay, so that uses up one of your first level spell slots. As you do what your bardly self does to cast this spell, perhaps you like hum a little tune or you say a little poem to yourself or whatever. You get a general sense as you hold this necklace that itself is magical, but not magical in the sense of like something special will happen to me if I put this on. More like you get the feeling that there's something that you'll be able to see better if you put it on.
Interesting.
And,
Can she? Oh, sorry.
And as for like the spell says like if it has charges or anything, it doesn't have charges. It's just an enchanted necklace.
Okay. Can she tell anything about any associated school of magic with it, or not specifically?
You get very druidic vibes from this necklace. It feels very much like a natural style of magic. In fact, as you cast Identify, you can see like the green weave of nature magic kind of like swirling around the pendant a bit.
Okay. So she sees this. She's holding it in her hands. I like to imagine that she hums a little ditty as it kind of glows with her spell that she's casting on it. And then she's very curious. You see her ears kind of prick up, and she sniffs it to see if she can smell the magic. She can't. And then after a couple of seconds, she's like holding it, and she'll just like hesitantly put it on to see if anything happens when it kind of slips around her head.
Okay, so Nox.
What kind of saving throw am I about to make?
As soon as you put on the necklace and you see the chain pass over your eyes, you look towards Gesh again, and you were kind of watching that he was kind of in your field of vision as you put the necklace on, and as you put the necklace on, something appears to be sitting on the top of Gesh's head. You see, sitting kind of cross-legged with its like little black hands kind of on its knees, a very small humanoid with a black body. And its face is kind of like this white stone mask with the exact same carving that is on your necklace. It sits completely motionless. It sits completely motionless as if like copying Gesh's sleeping position.
Is it nude?
It just looks like a little black. It just has a little black body. It doesn't.
You can say that it's naked. You can say that it's naked.
Yes, it is naked, but like you can't. From what you can tell, you can't really find like any genitalia or anything. It's just like.
Okay, that was my next question. Is this thing hanging dog? Okay, it's not cool.
Yeah, no.
Penis.
Okay. You know the Kodama from Studio Ghibli movies. It looks a bit like that. Mm. It looks a bit like that.
Mm. Okay.
No face.
God, if it looks like no face, that's terrifying.
No.
It's very scary.
Oh wait, the Kodama, the little spectral ghost thingies.
Yeah, in height, it's like maybe like 6 inches tall. Thereabouts.
Okay. Okay. So she sees this and she just like gets this like look on her face, just this very like surprised, mildly, probably a little bit like not necessarily fearful, but like apprehensive at first. But then after a couple of seconds, like when she realizes like, oh shit, this is a cool necklace that like lets me see shit. She's like, this is cool. So she's very excited. And she'll kind of like sneak a little bit closer, and she's just like staring at it wide-eyed in awe. And she's kind of like sneaking forward. She's trying to like, she's like assuming that it can hear her and that she might like disturb it if she's loud. So she's being very quiet. But she'll get like as close to it as she can before it moves. And then she'll like reach out and just like try to touch it to see if her finger goes through it or not. She's just going to poke its little shoulder.
Okay. So as you kind of like sneak up, the thing is still completely motionless. It's kind of like masked crescent moon face, kind of like tilting down just as Gesh's head is tilting down. And as you get closer, it does slowly turn to like face its mask towards you, just in time for your finger to come out and poke it in the face. And as it does, like its head tilts back a little bit. And as you draw your finger back, the mask comes forward again. And if you tilt your head, it tilts its head in the same direction. And if you tilt your head the other way, it tilts its head in the same direction, kind of like copying your movements.
I chose a really bad food item to eat on camera.
This is adorable.
Leave me alone.
You're ruining the moment.
Okay. That is exactly what she does. She just kind of... And then after a couple of seconds of charading back and forth at it, she just goes, hello.
As soon as you speak, its head tilts.
Does it say anything? No.
Nope. Completely silent.
She's just like, can you understand me? And then she'll like lift up the necklace and like start taking it off, just enough to like take it off about this much to see if it, to watch it disappear.
As the chain passes over your eyes, it's gone.
And she's like,
and every time you do this, every time you pull it up and down, whenever you reveal it again, its head is like tilted another direction.
she'll lay the necklace back down on her, and then she'll reach out with like two fingers, kind of like this, and just like hold it out, not touching it this time, but like very much in the way that you let a cat like sniff your fingers when you want to, you know, not get bitten. She'll just kind of like offer some fingers to it to see if it reacts in any way.
Slowly, as these two comparatively gargantuan kitty fingers come to point out at it, two small black fingerless hands reach out and kind of like touch the tips of their fingers. And Gesh, as you awaken from your slumber, you see standing over you an older Tabaxi woman kind of doing this over your head.
Yeah, so
As you do.
it's kind of weird and stuff. So Gesh immediately just grabs her wrist. What exactly do you think you're doing?
Nox like flinches a little bit, startled, but you know, it takes a moment, and then she's like, "Yeah, this does look kind of weird, doesn't it?" Then she still has her hand out like this at this little thing, and then she looks down at Gesh and she's like, "There is a very small creature sitting on your head. You feel it?"
No, I don't feel it. If you could flick it off.
Oh, that would be rude, though. And then she'll look back at the little thing and she'll be like, "My friend wants me to flick you off. Should I flick you off?" Gesh probably just watches this for a second and she's like doing this.
Yeah, Gesh, there's this moment of like, what the fuck is happening?
Very good. And eventually she will, yeah. She can't feel it, right? Like she could feel that it was solid.
You can absolutely feel it.
Okay. She'll look back at Gesh and she'll say like, do this with your hand. Over your head, like this.
And it's just like, fine.
Just humor her.
Just
You put your hand over
and-
your hood, and you
Yeah.
feel the fabric of your hood, but you don't really feel anything else. And Nox, you watch as Gesh's hand passes through the creature as if it's like not there.
She's just like, huh, interesting. And then she'll like look at it for a second, and then she'll look back at Gesh, and then she'll look back up at it, and she'll be like, never mind. And then she's just gonna like go and like sit back down.
So, Nox, the final time that you went to look back up at the creature, it was no longer sitting there. And for a moment you're like, okay, maybe that's a little weird. And as you turn around to go back to where you're sitting, you see it standing on the coffee table.
Terrifying. She's just like, oh, it's moved. She'll like, a poor Gesh, Jesus. She'll
Gesh,
just
you're
like
just-
walk a little bit closer.
Gesh, you're watching Nox like just stare at an open space on the coffee table.
Awesome.
If you could explain to me what exactly you're doing, that would be very welcome.
She cuts him off like, and then she gets closer to the creature. She's not taken her eyes off of it this whole time, and she kind of like lifts up the pendant a little bit, like as if to show it to them. And she's like, "Is this yours?"
And as you do this, on two little feet, the creature kind of hobbles over, and he reaches up with two little, again, fingerless hands and places them on either side of the pendant. And closer now, you can tell like the masks are like completely similar. And you watch as it like taps its mask against the pendant and holds it there for a second, and then lifts away. Like a little kiss.
She's just very interested. She watches this, and she wanted to test to see if it would react with like anger or something. So when it doesn't, that is a relief. And then she'll like finally, she's still like holding it out to the creature, and then she'll finally turn to Gesh, and then she'll say, "This is the necklace that I took from Pride's Call, and when I put it on, I started to see this little creature, but it seems like you cannot see it or touch it."
Well, either you're delusional, or it's just a magic necklace. Clearly, whatever magical creature belongs to whatever other necklace this is.
Well,
It is you need to do and get and just. There are bigger things to do than this. There are assassins trying to kill our little friend. So I think this magical creature here, whatever it is far lower in whatever category of importance you have.
she's like, well, that is true. And I do not argue that I am perhaps slightly delusional, but... And then she'll like look back at the little creature and she'll say like, if I continue to wear this, will you follow us? I assume it says nothing. Yeah, just kind of. And she's like, okay. And then she will just kind of like she's gonna keep the necklace on now because she wants to keep seeing this little thing. But seeing that it doesn't seem malicious and it's not really doing anything, she's not hugely concerned with it. But she will just kind of go like kind of back to where her spot was, and she's still like Gesh can clearly see her like looking over at it every couple of seconds, like to make sure that it hasn't moved or something. But then she'll just like go and sit back down and be like, okay.
Okay, so as you make your way away from the coffee table, with I do want to point out, Gesh, to your perspective, Nox is a Tabaxi who's getting up there in age, and this seemed like a very strange turn of events. So maybe
she's like 40. Come on.
So maybe
man.
So maybe you're beginning to have your doubts about that. But Nox, as you walk away from the coffee table, the creature tilts its head again and kind of like also follows you, kind of like shimmying down the coffee table before like scurrying over to you. And eventually it does like latch onto your leg and starts to climb up, eventually to sit on your shoulder. And if you haven't already, I would like you to put in your inventory Pendant of the Lonely Chwinga.
Oh, okay. I had it in my inventory already, but I called it Weird Little Necklace that she stole. So what am I calling it now? Pendant of the Lonely
Chwinga. It's
You may write down.
Chwinga.
All right, friend acquired.
So many new friends this campaign.
Okay, so with that out of the way, slowly everybody starts to get up. And Ozla, Fenkin, Dhuur'in, as you wake up, you see Gesh seems a bit more annoyed and on edge than he usually is. Princess also ends up waking up too, kind of like stretching like a cat on Gesh's lap and doing that weird like cat stretch paw thing where they like knead the thigh or whatever, and you kind of feel like the little claws kind of sickle into your scales a bit. But as you guys get up and kind of like get your things together and pack up the tent, like Floyd showed you, by taking out all the stakes and watching the tent back into a model tent, you see that everybody else kind of had the same idea, where everybody's kind of packing up. The Crown's guards are packing up, and you can see in one of the carts a fairly body-shaped little wrapping has been loaded into one of the carts, and that cart itself is being very heavily guarded by the Crown's guard. And you guys probably know what that is, but before long, with all the campfires doused and all that, everybody's ready to continue on their way through the Sirios mountain passes, and once again, the wagon train is on its way through the thin air.
Question.
Answer.
Have we already passed by where Karn used to live?
I'm going to say yes, because that was in the forest and you're already in the mountains. You wouldn't have been able to see it anyway because it's like kind of like in the forest. It's not like on the. It's not like at the forest.
And it also burned down.
Yeah, it also burned down.
Yeah.
But we remember in our hearts where it was.
We do. When they passed by, whenever that happened, Nox probably like gave a very pointed look at Dhuur'in, just like, huh? But she didn't say anything.
Have you passed Dhuur'in's cave?
Yeah, you probably passed Dhuur'in's cave before you hit the super wooded area.
That reminds me. There's an explanation for why Amakwe is not with you guys. Before you guys left, she said that she had some business to attend to in Rexantrum, which is the capital city. So she could not go where you guys were going, but she did wish you good tidings and did hope to see you guys again. So back in the cart with Tilly, who is still doing her cow thing, munching on grass. Everybody gets loaded into their wagon, and Nox, your little friend, takes an immediate interest in Tilly, and as you look down your shoulder, you see he's not there anymore, and when you look over at Tilly, you see that he's on the top of her head, just kind of like smooshing his fingers through her like cow fur, I guess. His little finger hands. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Sorry, I forgot I'm on push to talk. She's like leaning. She's standing there leaning against the wall watching this. She's very amused. What is Ozla doing right now, Sophie?
Ozla she's probably just like laying back in the hay like she was yesterday, but she's a little bit more curled up. Probably close to like his foot if he's next to her.
Okay. Nox will, after a couple of seconds, like look over at her, and then she'll kind of like slide, like sidestep over, like slide, all stealthy, not very stealthy, but like with the appearance of someone that's like pretending to be stealthy. Sorry, my mom just walked in. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
That's fine. She'll walk over to her and like she's got her arms crossed and she like kind of speaks out of the side of her mouth like she's trying to keep it low, and she's like, "Can you keep a secret?"
Not really, but tell me anything.
She just nods knowingly, and then she's looking at the little Chwinga, little friend, little boy. And then she like, as she's looking at it, she takes the necklace off, and then she holds it out to Ozla and says, "Put this on."
Oz looks up at it and she sees like the necklace like dangling over her, and she just puts her hand up, like, "Sure, okay." No disregard for anything. And as it gets dropped into her hand, she like looks at it a little bit and like spins it, like she's playing with it, and then she like knots it around her neck.
Okay, so Ozla, after the events of last night, you do feel still a bit shaken up. Obviously, you're not paralyzed anymore, but your limbs do feel a bit, like, I guess, stiff. You know that, like, tingly feeling you get when you, like, sit down for too long? It's kind of like that, but you're able to move just fine. And you put your necklace on. You put the necklace on. And you're wearing a necklace now.
Cool. She's probably gonna look at Nox even, and just raise an eyebrow and be like, "So what's this about?"
Nox is quiet for a second, and she looks over at her like surprised, and she's like, "You don't see that little thing."
She's pointing at Tilly.
That's a cow.
Yes, yes, I know. The thing on its head.
On its head.
Between the horns?
Look, you do know I'm a little person, right?
I can see that.
So I can't see where you can see.
Nox is just like, no. I assume she would not be able to even touch her without Fen snapping her neck. She just kind of looks. Hey! Sorry, my fucking cat. My dumbass cat.
Show us the cat. Show us the cat.
No, she's there. She's being naughty.
As your DM, I demand to see a cat, or I will impose disadvantage on all your rolls for the next 3 games.
Come here, baby.
Come on, Joe. Come on.
She doesn't want to come. I'm not turning my entire laptop around. If she comes over here, I'll grab her. But yeah, okay, anyway, sorry. Nox is quiet for a second. And then she's like, huh. And then she'll just say, never mind. Can I get the necklace back?
Put the hand over the little pendant.
Nox is quiet for a second, and then she says, well, I have noticed something peculiar about the necklace. And I thought perhaps you would sense it as well, but maybe half-girls cannot.
That's a little bit, but you know. I don't mind. What is it I'm meant to be sensing? Because, yeah, I can't see where you're seeing, so I don't know what it is.
Well, there is a little friend that has been following us since we left the camp last night. I am not talking about your Fleabag. I am very aware that he has been here too, but...
as this conversation is going on, Dhuur'in, you're kind of like going through your book, and then you like pause after hearing this, like.
She's just like, he has been following us since we left the camp, and he seems to be attached to my necklace, or perhaps it belonged to him. But you do not see him. He is very small. It almost looks like the dark one, but less spindly. He's sitting up there on the cow's head. You do not see?
Ozla, give me an insight check.
Is this a check to see if Nox is crazy check?
Just give me an insight check.
Insight. How do I roll for insight? Insight. Gotta find my insight. Blah, 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 blah.
Insight. Everybody, everywhere.
Wait, how do I actually do insight? I'm an idiot.
While you guys are doing this, your DM got to make a PM, so I'll be right back.
A P movement?
Yeah, that doesn't work as well, you know?
That one doesn't work as well, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. You're going to make a prime minister?
So I didn't hear the comment that y'all made that made Dhuur'in look up from his book because I have company.
I think it was Nox telling Ozla that they've been followed by a small creature.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Very concerning, but she said it very casually.
How rude.
By the way, if she passes this insight check, she's gonna like bounce up and down. It's like, I can't see it.
Okay, what's the
I was
insight?
expecting her to like climb Fenkin like a tree.
What was the result of the insight check?
15.
What's that?
15.
15. Okay.
5.
So it sounds like Nox is totally crazy, but you also know Nox to be this kind of like wizened figure, despite the fact that she ate some honey off a tree and tripped balls for a few hours. But you know she doesn't seem to be the type who would just make shit up. But also, there's nothing on the cow's head is the thing though. So do with that what you will.
She's still holding the necklace to her chest, so Nox doesn't like snatch it off her. And she goes, you know what? 1 sec. And she turns around and Fen, she's gonna grab Fen's arm and be like, hold still. And then she's gonna try and climb up on Fen's shoulders to get a higher viewpoint of the top of the cow's head. And then when she doesn't see anything, she's gonna go, well, that was a fucking bust.
As he's being climbed And then as she exclaims that, he's like, well, if you wanted to ride the cow, you could just ask me. And then he picks her up and puts her on top of the cow.
Tilly kind of like with a mouthful of cud, just like murr.
She is now fucking riding a cow.
So Dhuur'in and Gesh, you're just kind of like on the from the other side of the cow. You're kind of watching this like clown house kind of like unfold before you, and there's a moment where you kind of like look at each other with a feeling of kinship, realizing that you might be the only two sane people left in the fucking party.
Dhuur'in is not sane. He sees and hears things that aren't there all the time. He gets it.
Well, I mean, Gesh isn't with that, so he's just.
Gesh can't see the little thingy.
He'll just shrug.
So, as this is happening, you guys kind of hear like the clanking of boots coming down from the front of the wagon train, and eventually, a Crownsguard kind of out of breath comes up to the side of the side of your cart and is walking along, and if you look over, you recognize Velios, Private Velios, the periwinkle
Peritwinkle, yeah, we know you want to say Peritwinkle.
Shut up. The Peritwinkle tiefling. Fuck! What have you done to me?
Bring us the twink.
The periwinkle young tiefling of the Crownsguard of Pride's Call. You kind of see him. He's got his own spear, and he's kind of like walking along, and he looks up at you guys with concern. He's like, "Hi, it's been a while, hasn't it? Do you remember me?" It's Velios. It's Private Velios. I faint. I'm the one who fainted.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah!
Oh, Ozla. Nox just nods at him like, yes, I don't remember. How are you?
I'm fine. I heard about it last night, and I wanted to check on Miss Highhill. Is she all right?
I'm fine. Riding a cow, though.
Yeah, he looks at you on the cow kind of mid-sentence like, is Miss Highhill okay? Well, I'm glad to see everybody's doing all right.
Can I ask how the Chwinga responded to Oz getting up on the cow, or is it just like chilling?
You're not wearing the necklace anymore.
Oh, that's right. I'm not wearing it. Okay, never mind.
Can I? Oh wait, no, she can't see it. Because I'm an idiot. Can I ask? Oz is trying to get down off the cow, and it's just really fucking hard for her. She's trying to swing her legs over, and she's trying to get to the little peritwink. Cool. What?
It's spreading.
The tiefling, that's what it is. She's trying to get over to him, but she's having a lot of trouble, so she looks over at Fen, just like, help.
Fenkin like, and as it picks her up and sort of kind of not very gently, but still, well, kind of gently for being Fenkin, lifts her up and puts her down. He looks at him like, what do you want? To the tiefling.
Well, I just wanted to check in and see if everything's all right. And I also kind of wanted to apologize on account of all of us. I mean, you know, you met the captain last night, and he's a bit rough around the edges. But I do want to apologize. We have no idea who that man was. I promise, as soon as we find out who he was, and as soon as we get any information, you'll be the first to know.
Fenkin crosses his arms immediately before anyone else can speak up and says, "Apology not accepted."
Ozla slaps his arm and then turns to the teeth and he says, "Don't be daft, you silly little bugger. Now Now, speaking of information, what do you actually know about what happened last night?
Well, I don't really know much of anything, honestly. All I know is what I've heard whispered from the captain and his sergeants, and I also helped wrap up the body, and he kind of like has a moment of like, but but all I know is that someone with a knife tried to reach out and attack Miss Ozla Highhill.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened myself, really. It was, well, when you get a cup of shit out, all thought goes out the window, really. But, yeah, you wouldn't, he didn't say anything, because I obviously wasn't able to hear him or see him because, down on the floor, annoyingly. But he didn't seem to say anything about anyone else. Did he? Like, were you there? Did you hear it? Or has anyone said anything about it? Or
Well, again, I only heard the whispers, and I didn't want to stick around too long because I didn't want to get in any trouble. But I heard the word ook toast, ookin toast, something toast.
right. Well, yeah. I don't really know much about that name, so it's nothing to me. Thank you for trying to tell me. And then she turns around and she's just like, I'm gonna go sit on the hay now.
No, it's no problem. And he turns his attention to Knox, and he's like, how you been, Miss Opportunity? Miss Knox? Miss Opportunity Knox? Yeah.
Knox is just kind of like looks at him in she's amused, but she's kind of like intentionally got this like fake annoyed look on her face just because she finds it funny that he's stumbling so much on her name. But then once he kind of stutters through it, she's like, well, as you can imagine, it has been a rather interesting couple of days, but I do believe that is becoming pretty typical for us, so I cannot say I'm any worse for wear.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Right. Captain wanted me to let you know that we're going to be showing up in about an hour. So, bye. And no longer making eye contact with Knox, he just like runs back to
books it.
Yeah, he books it up away from the cart.
Knox just kind of watches him goes and then sighs, and she kind of looks at the others and she's like, sometimes that is a side effect of that particular charm spell.
Fenkin looks at her and goes like, seems useful.
All right, Fenkin, if you want your own twinkling, we can get you one too.
We're gonna get that arranged.
It's fine and dandy.
We'll go to a brothel in Zadash.
They do still have to do that.
Or brothel.
Dhuur'in. As Knox and Fenkin are talking, and Ozla is kind of like having the time of her life on top of this cow. For you, the world sort of goes silent for a moment, and you begin to lose yourself in your own thoughts. Once again, you start thinking about the voice of the mistress that you heard within your dreams. And you can almost hear that voice again. You can almost hear the raspiness and feel the cold of her fingers raking against your back.
I'll close my book and hold it very closely, pull my cloak over top of it to protect it from these fingers that aren't really there and put my head down, pull the hood down very low so I can have my moment away from the party.
Gesh, sitting next to you, sitting next to Dhuur'in, you kind of see Dhuur'in pulling his hood down a little further and kind of like tightening up on himself as if uncomfortable with something.
I guess would want to exactly just jump in and ask anything
Right, no.
of them. 'Cause it's sort of
He doesn't have to if you don't want to. He doesn't have to if you don't want to.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna just jump in and ask anything. So he just sort of watches to make sure like nothing too big or weird happens. Like, just making sure that an Eldritch Blast doesn't suddenly go past someone.
It might.
It just might.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dhuur'in, as you're kind of like curling in on yourself, you kind of lose track of time as you kind of lose yourself in your thoughts, in all the bad memories and all that, and you can kind of feel them sinking down into your chest and just sort of making you feel terrible. But eventually, there is a moment where you feel like a tiny hand on your leg, and when you look up, you see Princess looking up at you from the hay with one little raccoon hand kind of like on your leg. And he cocks his head like, "Gluck."
He knows.
From his shroud, he's looking down at this little creature that he once thought could have been dinner, and he'll stare for a minute as his discomfort is pulling his shoulders in, but he'll like part his cloak a little bit and like pat his knee.
Princess is delighted to see this, and almost as soon as you do, he hops up into your lap and kind of. Who'd we lose? We lost Finn.
Finn.
Finn's back. Okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, as soon as Princess sees this, he hops up into your lap and does that thing that cats do, where they like turn around in place a bunch of times before kind of like settling down into your lap. And this is a very strange feeling for you because back in the Underdark, all the creatures were poisonous or very like ferocious or very not at all pet-y, and suddenly you have this like creature this very soft, very warm creature that wants to be around you and is willingly like snuggling up against your lap.
He's a little shocked at first, but in understanding how Oz interacted with this raccoon, he's like, maybe friend, maybe, I guess. He's not gonna pet it. He's still holding onto his book, but he'll just kind of like close his cloak around it.
Most excellent. And as this happens, you all hear the voice of the caravan master ringing out throughout across the wagon train, and you hear him shout, "Look ho! Look ahead! Look ahead!" And as you follow the source of the voice, you see the wagon train making its way over one last hill. And in the very distance, 3 great spires erupt from the ground as you look upon the massive triangular city of Zadash. And that is where we are going to leave today's game.
No!
I'm just getting warmed up, Connor. No!
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
We made it!
And we'll see everybody next Sunday. Good game as always. Take care of yourselves.
Yay!
Stay happy. Stay healthy. And that goes for everybody watching as well.
Bye!